Greetings all humans, aliens and vegetables. My name is Alex Gordon, author, actor and screenwriter. And this is your behind the scenes look of said thing. So today I'm here to talk about one of the strangest and yet strongest influences in my work as an author to date. It was a series that I discovered when I was about 14-15 years old, late at night on SBS. It was called Neon Genesis Evangelion. When I saw that series and I saw the interactions between Shinji Ikari, his father, Asuka and Shinji, Rei and Shinji, and Misato, and how all these characters interacted with each other in a very complicated way in dealing with the stresses of piloting an Eva, which is a type of life form that's part of the whole creation story that this series actually explores. It's out there, but it's a pinnacle series, especially the classical Neon Genesis Evangelion, if you can find it, which you should be able to, when it was released around 95-96. To date, I still don't understand the whole story behind it, even though I kind of have more of an understanding of it now. So many years later, I rediscovered Neon Genesis Evangelion. I watched the whole series again and again. I just was like, oh wow. From there, I began to understand how psychology became so very important in my work, and how to explore different psychological elements that happen inside a story and with a character in general. And then I was able to transfer that over as an actor, and I was able to explore that as an actor as well. But getting back to Neon Genesis, so the actual main part that got me really thinking about how psychology is important to storytelling is the relationship between Shinji Ikari, his father, Misato, and Asuka, which is another character who's the only pilot I'm pretty sure of that's foreign born, German, and how what's the best way to put it? How Shinji Ikari never grew up with sort of any strong female or feminine influences in his life, and all of a sudden he's been thrown into a house with Misato, Asuka, a penguin, and then he's got to sort of deal with the complicated relationships with Rei Ayanami, who has a body-ish of a human, but the soul from Lilith. Really complicated story, really psychologically driven. And from sort of these interactions, I was able to get a better understanding about how to place certain characters in my book. But later on, what it did was the Neon Genesis Evangelion series, which I have a copy of, and I did watch the You're Not Alone, and then the other three that were subsequent from that 2 or 3. It made me explore other anime series like Ghost in the Shell. What's that one called? You got Akira. Akira, one of them. That is a very influential work. To this day, it still blows my mind, and I still use it as a base for my stories and a strong influence on my stories as well. I've actually got a copy of it right here. She's the Ultimate Weapon. Black Lagoon. Oh my god, Black Lagoon was so good. Just an orgy of blood, violence, drugs, all in Thailand. A free-for-all. Very good series. Must watch. Legend of the Overfiend still scared me somewhat. I don't know what still to make of that. But anyway, even Ghost in the Shell, and there's actually a new series on Netflix, which I'm a little bit into. I prefer the classical way Ghost in the Shell was produced instead of the 3D animation, but all the main characters are there. The Major, and who else? You got the Major. Oh mate, they just slipped my mind at the moment. Yeah, anyway, all the main characters are still there, but what Japanese anime actually made me do was understand that psychology in storytelling is so very important, because in order for your subject, which is you the reader, to understand the character, you've got to understand the psychology of the character. The trick is doing it in a way where you can come across and cut through all the BS, and help the reader understand that they're actually reading something deeply psychological about the character without them realizing it. That's the trick that Japanese anime actually taught me, was how to engage the reader and the subject, one of the same. I'm probably not making much sense here, but welcome to the lunacy of being a creative person. I live in my own head. But you can understand how all these things interact and how to give the maximum you can to the character. I am still very much a student in Japanese anime, and I'm still always looking into new anime, into new ways of storytelling and how to really lift my characters. So 100% of the foundations of my characters are heavily influenced by the characters and by the storylines that I had learned watching Japanese animation. What it also taught me is that to be human is to be vulnerable. To be vulnerable means to hide it, and to hide it is detrimental. Some people hide their vulnerabilities behind drugs, alcohol, sex. Others, they bite down on shotguns. The final thing that I'm going to leave you with, and it's a little bit of a topic which I'm still having trouble understanding, and I guess I'll never understand it, is the spirit of the soul lives within inside the mind of every person. What this is, nobody knows. Every mind is different. Biologically, they look the same, but how we're wired and how we think are very different, because it's all built on where we grew up and who we grew up with. I'm going to take you back to Shinji Ikari. Like I said to you earlier, he didn't grow up around females. He didn't grow up with a strong feminine female influence, and that he got thrown into a house with Masato, who's best described as an Australian bogan who liked lying on his couch scratching himself, drinking beer and living off cheap food. And then you got the other extreme, which is Oscar, who is a redhead firecracker, who's quick to anger. And you got Shinji Ikari, whose just mind's been completely blown by all of this. All those sorts of things are very interesting to me and want me to explore it even more. And then I haven't even gone into Rei Aoyama yet, and Shinji Ikari's weird relationship with Rei. It's all wow. So anyway, Japanese anime has a massively strong influence on my work as a writer, and I am still a massive anime fan, even though you won't see me at any anime conventions, because I just don't do that. This was just a short video to give you a little bit of a background about what I do, my influences. If you want me to get an in-depth sort of explanation into how I use psychology in characters, like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll do a proper presentation instead of something shotgun like I'm doing now. But anyway, so that is it. I am going to leave you to it. But yes, Japanese anime has a massive influence and impact on what I do. Thank you.